wanted to say, I just wanted to say a few words about the centre, because there's no point in talking about living with Parkinson's if you don't know what the centre is designed to do and how it works. The centre is being nominated as one of the leading physical rehabilitation centres in Europe. Not by me, of course. Well, I did nominate it, but by the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We've had immense success with using the American technique called PWR moves, which was developed by Becky Farley. She is the leader worldwide in movement and Parkinson's. She created LSVT Big, which is the gold standard, or was the gold standard. And we are only one of 3 centres in Italy that do PWR. It's very, very effective. We decided to set up the centre for many reasons. We work with many organisations. We're members of the European Parkinson Therapy Association. I think that's obvious. And quite honestly, there's not enough room to fit all of the people we work with on the screen. But we are doing a worldwide webinar, which will involve Fox Foundation, PD Warriors, the Finney Foundation, EDPA, Muhammad Ali Foundation, many of the big names, and that'll be in April. That'll be free of charge, and it'll be in English. And it will ask some very, very tough questions like, when will we have a cure for Parkinson's? When will we have a drug for Parkinson's?
Well, I can watch it.
Norman, could you please mute your microphone? There are 2 people who aren't muted.
Sorry, mate. We've got technology problems, I'm afraid.
Not to mute it.
Good to see you, Norman. I've only got 45 minutes and I always talk too much, so this is a short introduction. You may not be able to hear the audio very well. So very quickly, I just want to mention some of the people who created European Parkinson's. It wasn't created by me. I'm no expert. We were very lucky in finding major international names. I wrote to a number of people, and some people may know Michelle, who, of course, of Oxford, and she's the head of the Oxford Parkinson Disease Centre, major centre. Jay Alberts, who created forced exercise. Becky, who is a phenomenal supporter and one of the biggest names in exercise in the world. Helen, who used to be the head of University of Oxford, she's now the head of University of Exeter. Simon Stott, wonderful man. He works for the Cure Parkinson's Trust and was a professor at Cambridge University. There are many others, and it's very boring, so I won't talk about them. I will mention our staff. Our staff are all quite young. Why? Because we like to take them out of university, immediately they leave university, and train them ourselves. We send them to one of our international centres. We have a centre in Oxford and a centre in Arizona, where we train them on how to apply physiotherapy to neurological conditions. It's very different, physiotherapy and neurotherapy, as the Americans call it, but we'll come to that. This guy over here, this on the right, well, he doesn't do very much, really. I bring something which is unique, and we're the only centre in Europe who have the director who is a person with Parkinson, not a neurologist or a neurotherapist. I know a lot about Parkinson's, unfortunately, living 16 years with Parkinson's. I've even tried the American medicines, Ritari and Imbrisia. I've had DBS. I unfortunately have had too much experience with Parkinson's, but I am still smiling, and I live a very full life. I travel a lot. I have a tour operator, which we do groups of 50 English people at a time who come over. I get involved with the church very heavily. Very full life, and I love my life. 16 years of Parkinson have created some problems. You learn to live with those problems, and that's what the centre's for. So maybe now we've got a quick idea of what the centre's for, but I can explain a bit better. We have 4 divisions at the centre. Don't worry about this video, it's just running in the background. You'll remember the moment when someone said you got Parkinson's, go home and take these pills. That happened to me when I was 44. I was a business consultant, earning a lot of money. Well, that came to an end, and my job today is running the European Parkinson Therapy Centre. It's a 12-hour, 14-hour a day job. We work internationally throughout the world. We create programs for Steve Ford. For the EDPA, we're just doing a newly diagnosed course for the EDPA. We have online exercise classes. The 4 divisions, we have a therapy division, as you can see here. That's normally a 1-week intensive course. Now, we do have a lot of associations, because we are members of the EDPA, who send over, last year, Belgium sent over 28 people. But if Edinburgh can get a group together of 6 people, we'd be more than happy to give you a discount and free transport from the airport. That's standard for us. We are a no-profit, so don't expect a big discount, but we do our best. We've got some great technology. That's a laser screen, which is phenomenally high definition. And that's part of our new building, in which we do online training classes every evening. So people who've been to centre can stay in contact with the centre. They can get involved with us and have an interactive conversation with their therapist, either one-on-one, personal, or as part of the classes. We run 20 classes. We're only operating in 4 countries at the moment, and we cover 45. Actually, we cover 46, because last week we had people from Libya. I don't know where they got their rubber boat from, but they did come over, and they want to go back and encourage Libyans to come over to the centre. That is how we grew. We started with 1 neurotherapist and a person answered the telephone, and we don't advertise. It was through word and mouth. We've grown to have 35 people in our centre. We've got our own building. This is our own building. And we have a training centre, which you can see, where we actually train physiotherapists to help people with Parkinson's. We believe in care in the community. We work very well with Bas Bloem. He's from Holland. And we believe strongly that hospitals are the last place a person with Parkinson's should be. Hospitals are for sick people. That is not what we want you to be thinking. Region at Home is our exercise program. Our webinars I mentioned, well, it goes on forever. It gets boring and I talk too much. So let's quick look at the methodology, and then we'll talk about living with Parkinson's. We're located in a wellness building. It's called Guario Terme. It's very famous in Italy, very old building. All of the first floor is a Parkinson Centre. People come to our centre to be well, not because they're sick. That's very important. Families, we know very well, are part of the solution, and they suffer too. We actually have a session for families. My wife is a saint. I mean that. We deal with Parkinson's 360 degrees. I'll explain that in a minute. We get real-time results. In 4 days, we can get massive results using neurotherapy. We had a guy over from Venezuela in June, came for 2 weeks. After 5 days, we nicked his wheelchair. Well, he let us nick it, I must admit, because he was walking. After 2 weeks, he said, "Can I stay for another week?" He said, yes. He stayed for 5 weeks, then we sent him home. And he went home walking, and he set up the very first Parkinson Association in Venezuela. A remarkable man. And we get remarkable results. The average improvement is about 20%. Now we know that because we have Oxford Brookes University did a research, and we also have testing facilities, which we can pull up the results from the first day and the last day, and you can actually see the results, but people can feel the difference already. The problem with exercise is, and this I know, I own 2 gyms. I hate gyms. I hate exercise. I'm the laziest person in the world. If we can get out of it, we will. So we work on trying to integrate exercise into our daily routine. We're not patients. We just need the right support. We're not handicapped. We're not different. we should not be put into wards. We use hotels, very cheap hotels actually. Right now, it's for 38 euros. You can stay breakfast, lunch, and dinner included, and come to the centre. We don't do just therapy. We have the best therapy in the world. We work with many people to find and change every year our therapy program, upgrade it, to make it the most effective it can possibly be. It is both physical and psychological. We work internationally. Well, you know all of that. I'm wasting time. Last thing, our protocol. Yes, we have a protocol. We follow it rigorously. Now, 10 years ago, the protocol was medicines. If you had Parkinson's, you went to your physiotherapist, and that was your only source of hope. Actually, medicines can get you into some serious problems. Levodopa, after a number of years, has a kickback. It's actually quite a dangerous drug. Levodopa does not cure Parkinson's. There is no drug that can cure Parkinson's. Isn't that incredible? 208 years, and we still have no drug which can stop or cure Parkinson's. There are reasons, but I talked too much already. We've added 3 other pillars. These pillars maintain quality of life. Movement is fundamental. Every day, 20 minutes. Movement is exercise. That's the phrase the Americans use, the scientists, not the sports companies. And it's true. If you don't exercise every day, and COVID had a bad effect on us, that's why we're full at the moment, because a lot of people are trying to recuperate after COVID. Movement reduces symptoms, lowers the need for medications. It can improve your mood and slow progression. It is proved beyond any doubt the importance of movement, but what type of movement, when and how. Lifestyle is what I think is the most important pillar, the way we live our life, but I'm not going to go into that now. And psychology, Parkinson's has a lot of psychology in it. The way you see your Parkinson's hugely affects the way you live with your Parkinson's. If you see yourself as the victim, if you see yourself as having Parkinson's with a capital P, you look for the nearest rock and hide under it, then you'll be a victim. If you decide you want to live with Parkinson's, we'll help you. We'll give you the instruments in hand, and you will live with Parkinson's. I know people with Parkinson's who live 20, 25, 35 years, 40, and even a guy of 50 years with Parkinson's. He's a British guy. He got Parkinson's at the age of 6. Matt Eagles. Some people may know him. I have 16 years of Parkinson's. I can still work 14 hours a day and run a tour company in my spare time. We did want to talk about living with Parkinson's. So I think I got about 20 minutes to do that. There is this kind of formula which Parkinson people create in their head. It's not an official formula. Parkinson will reduce our ability to move. It will. And we will help you get it back again. Not all of it. And it will help you, you will lose some of your autonomy. Parkinson's will bring a lesser quality of life. This is wrong. This is the old way of thinking of Parkinson's. Just a question, I'll answer it rhetorically. A percentage of the population which age group has the highest proportion of suicides. I'll prove to you that the above formula is wrong by answering this question, because the answer are 16 to 18-year-olds. I was very moved when I first heard that. And indeed, we work with schools. We have a program which we use with schools. 16 to 18-year-olds, they have all their life ahead of them. They can run up the mountains which are behind our centre. They can do what they want, and yet they commit suicide. That's so sad. Let's turn that on its head. What about people who can't move? We know that people who can move commit suicide. What about people in wheelchairs? Or someone who's been in Iraq and a mine they've lost their legs and their arms. Sort of person you walk across the street to avoid. They must have a tough life, and they must demonstrate that loss of movement means loss of quality of life. Well, let's hear from this guy.
I wasn't ready. I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have.
He's not embarrassed. He travels the world to talk to young people.
I sort of looked at my life and
He's now talking to you.
Do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms, legs, I wish I had arms, legs, I wish I had arms, legs, because wishes won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple of key principles. And the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand. But when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. I want you to close your eyes, please. If you don't want to close your eyes, that's fine. Just stare at the floor. Don't talk to the person next to you, please. I want to ask you, how are you? What heaviness are you carrying? What tears do you hold back? What pain, what fears are kept inside? You don't have to hold on to those fears. You just take one step at a time. Not to say that one day these fears are just going to completely disappear, but you're in this storm and you're down on your knees and you're cold and you're weak and you feel like this is the end. Are you not still here? You are still here. You don't have to do this alone. make the choice today to do something good. Open your eyes.
Oh, hello there. Nice to catch you. I'm sorry, I hear Western Australia is still under the clock. Hello? Yeah, the rest of Australia.
I think Nick is a remarkable man. He has an immense quality of life. He does skydiving, he does scuba diving, he's married. His life is full, and yet he has no arms and no legs. You see, the quality of life comes from in here. And a lot of people give up, or they have a little small problem, start having blockages, or start going off medicines and think, my life is in the bucket. That is rubbish. We do a protocol called Learn About Yourself, active protocol. It's actually used in 26 countries in the world. It's a protocol which we make them, the people who come to the centre, write down in the evening. We ask them to write down 10 things they like or love to do. Wow, that's a difficult question, isn't it? Well, for some people, it's not. They write 10 things, turn the paper over and write 25 other things. Other people do have difficulty writing down things they like or love to do. We have people who write down only 3 or 4 things. That's a clear sign that the terrible word, and the word which is probably the worst in Parkinson, apathy, is beginning to take hold. You see, as we go along our lives as Parkinson's, we start throwing away some of our dreams and our hopes and our wishes, forgetting that we are actually able to do much more than we think, that we can get back some of the things we lose, and we can do almost anything. 2 years ago, I went to Arizona, technically to see our therapist working. I went on holiday. And before I left, 12 hours flight, I was a little afraid. 2 weeks without anyone to help me. As soon as I was on the aircraft, I knew I could do it. And I had 2 weeks, which, well, they were just wonderful. Now, next year, I'll have 17 years of Parkinson's. I'm going to San Francisco and Sicily. And we're doing a conference in Barcelona. You might know about that. It's called the World Parkinson Conference. We're doing various conferences around the world. We're very active in trying to change the way Parkinson is seen and treated. We work with PD Avengers, major organization. We just think it's time for a change. This active protocol is very important because what it's asking, what is it that makes you happy? Do you know? Why? Because if you don't know what makes you happy, how can you ever be happy or seek happiness? So this is the first stage in the last 2 days, which are our psychological days, where we ask questions and get you to think and get you to rebuild and re-examine happiness. I'm not saying living with Parkinson's is a bed of roses. There's people who are listening to me who know that very well. I know it very well. I can't turn over in bed at night because I've got pain in my feet, so I can't get my DBS on. And that means I can't turn over in bed at night. That's really frustrating. Parkinson's. You've got to have courage to live with Parkinson's and guts. You've got to realize that the bad times will come. But it's incredible, the bad times will go as well. And you'll have good times. Everybody has good days and bad days. Maybe normally show a video here, there's not enough time. There's a lovely phrase, your will to live can sustain you when you're in difficulty. But if you lose it, your last hope is gone. You may recognize that. That's Proverbs. It's from a very famous book, the Bible, a book I believe strongly in. That is an amazing phrase and very uplifting. And like or love to do is very important. Having a passion in your life, something you believe in. I believe in the rights of people with Parkinson's. I'll travel and do anything I can to help people with Parkinson's. I believe in my faith. I believe in my family. In fact, I'm in the office with my brother-in-law. Behind me, you can't see it, there's actually a picture of my grandchildren. That is what's special. Not making money or traveling the world. I discovered that when I got Parkinson's. Many times the most beautiful things we have are just under our noses. My wife of 33 years, my children, my grandchildren are a great joy to me. My traveling, my friends. A lot of us don't realize how blessed we are. Now, I am dealing very much with the living with Parkinson's side. There is the aspect of the physical, because if you walk badly, you don't feel good. But we do neurotherapy, which is different from physiotherapy. Physical therapy is physical therapy. Our problem is here, not physical. So neurotherapy, what's the difference? Well, I'm not a specialist. It involves the person who's doing the physical therapy cognitively. So everything is done activating the brain and changing the way in which you do things. It's called neuroplasticity. And it changes your ability to walk, so you walk better, or to stand, so you stand more straight. And that's why we have such amazing success with that program. I'm hoping it's the last video because I'm about to be told my time's up.
When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And we need to change the way we look at things. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And we need to change the way we look at things.
I know that this year 1 million people will commit suicide, one every 40 seconds. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long the storm's going to be. I am not a superhero. I go through ups and downs. So do you. But take one day at a time. And if you haven't found that peace of knowing who you are and why you're here and where you're going when you're not here, for me, I want you to know that's how I've overcome. The definition of a disability is something that will hinder you from being able to do something. The greatest disability is your mind, the choices that you make. The question is, are you going to make the right choices? I want to make sure that every single day that you are alive, that you make it count and you take the sweeter choices of life that God has given you. Because I want to ask you right now, if this was your last 30 seconds to breathe, how would you be remembered? How do you act? Who are you? Make today count. Dream big and never give up.
Those are beautiful words. Really are.
And we have a choice, either to be angry for what we don't have or be thankful for what we do have. And I had questions and no answers, and I asked my mum and dad, why did this happen? I asked doctors, why did this happen? They don't know. There are some things in life that are out of your control that you can't change. You're going to live with. The choice that we have, though, is either to give up or keep on going. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down. You feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. This day, it should be impossible for me to get back up. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm never going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. Does that make sense? And it's not the end until you've given up. And just the fact that you're here should persuade you that you have another chance to get back up. You will find that strength to get back up.
I have 2 minutes just to add. During the week, we also cover nutrition, aspects, psychological aspects, aspects of speech, swallowing, anything you can think of. We've got a specialist, and we cover many of the major aspects in the afternoons. We do one-on-one therapy. We do not do group therapy. Group therapy doesn't work. Group therapy is Tai Chi or ballroom dancing or whatever you want it to be. It is helpful. We support it immensely, but it's not working on your Parkinson's. Your Parkinson's is different from the next person's Parkinson's. We're all different. So the first day you come to the centre, we spend 2 hours examining you with all of our machines and tests and finding out what we need to work on for you. And you get an individual neurotherapist for the entire week. It is very, very important to us to help you live with Parkinson's. That means give a man a fish who live for a day. We're not a therapy centre. We don't just let people come do therapy. They feel better when they go home, and then they go back to their old ways and they don't feel better. So they come again. That's a good way of making money. Maybe we should do that. What we believe in is teaching and giving the instruments and the knowledge to people of how to live with Parkinson's. We do not change medicines. Strange. Why? Because over 50% of the people who refer people to our centre are neurologists. We have a huge respect amongst the neurologists because they see their patients before they go and when they go back. We must be doing something right. 45 countries, and we've got 5 stars on Google. I've never seen anyone go back worse than when they came. So there's some good news, isn't it? And I'll tell you one last story, then I'll shut up, David. We had a guy from Scotland, his name was Patrick. He came for 1 week, went home, he had a pub. He called me and said, I've sold my pub and we're going to New Zealand for 6 weeks. I said, why? You just sold your business and you're going to spend all your money. You're crazy. And he said, no, Alex, you're the one who told me to do it. Oops. I never told him to do that. I did tell him to live his dreams and to live his life to the full today. Don't wait for tomorrow. He had 12 years of Parkinson's. He's quite capable of flying New Zealand more than 12 hours too. He had a wonderful time, and 6 months later I got a card from Los Angeles saying, I forgot to mention I wanted to see Los Angeles. He now has a B&B in Cornwall and comes to us twice a year. Wonderful man. It's very, but we also do follow-up sessions, progression management, where we can follow your progression of your Parkinson's. Our centre is designed to give you support, your clients, not patients. We revolve around you. The centre is, when you come into it, is obviously a clinic, but you'd never guess it's a clinic. It's got welcome home on out written on the door. And it's got colours and it's got sofas. It looks more like Starbucks. All right, David, you can tell me I'm out of time.
You're out of